Hello, and this is the Warp Forge with another Arkham file for you all. In this Arkham file, I am going over Slade Wilson, the Master Assassin himself, aka Deathstroke. In this episode of the Arkham Files, I'll be going over his Arkham Origins profile, not his comic variation. So, what is Slade Wilson? Well, he's a Master Assassin and his stats really do say a lot. We'll go through what he is. He's another free agent for any guys apart from Batman, Green Arrow and Law, because he has the rule of hates Batman, Green Arrow and Law because he's a guy typically used by the villains and is generally hated by the heroes. So, what does his weapons include? He has a pistol called an automatic gun. It is rate of fire 3, so he gets to fire it 3 times if he stays still. He has 2 ammunition on it, so he can fire it twice. And it's a firearm, which is wound and always on a 2-up. And light, which is, I'll get back to you. Just as a thought, light is you can fire within 5 centimetres, the weapon, within 5 centimetres of an opponent's model. Because in the general rule in Batman, as a general rule to all, is if you've got an opponent's model within 5 centimetres of your guy with a gun, then they can't fire that weapon. However, he has light, which negates this. However, his rate of fire automatically turns to 1, whether he moved or not. He has the reinforced bow, which is handy and reach. So reach is a certain distance. Again, just as I thought, I'm just checking the rule book just to make sure I'm correct. He can strike models in close combat with that weapon, which has a 3 centimetre range. So instead of having to be in base-to-base contact, he can be within 3 centimetres and hit people with that specific weapon of the reinforced bow. He has handy, which rerolls his hit rolls against his opponent's models, and it's 2 stun damage. It's a melee weapon, so it doesn't have a rate of fire and ammo. And he also has a sword, which is 2 blood this time. No rate of fire or ammo, because it's a melee weapon, as you would think of a sword. And it's sharp, which allows him to reroll his damage rolls, which is the equivalent to Shred in 40k, for those who know 40k. He has, for his personal traits, he has Acrobat, which allows him to basically manipulate over like small obstacles and barricades, which at no extra cost, so he just flips over things like small windows on the ground floor and stuff. He'll just flip over and flip inside and stuff. Usually what would happen is you'd have to spend special counters to just hop over a barricade or something, because not everyone's quite agile and it takes a while to get over a barricade, or longer than some guy who cartwheels over it. That's why Acrobat exists. He has Undercover, which gives him an additional 20 centimetres deployment after all of the models have deployed. That's absolutely great when you know the role for this guy, which I'll go into later. He has Stealth, which means he cannot be shot unless your opponent's model of the ranged weapon is within 20 centimetres of Deathstroke, and that is absolutely game breaking. Like, I'm not saying that in a bad way, it's just it's very, very powerful. However, stealth is under the effect of light, so if you are within 10 centimetres of a lamppost, they can still fire up to full range, because you're under a lamppost, that stealth vanishes, because he's not the Flash, he's not that quick. He has combo with reinforced bow, so for every 2 attacks he spends on the reinforced bow, he gets an additional attack for free, which is absolutely amazing when you know his attack stat, which I'll go into later. He's a martial artist, which means he can't be outmaneuvered, and he has counter-attack, which basically means for every attack he successfully blocks, he may spend a special counter. If he spends a special counter, he can make an immediate attack on the opponent. So it's basically just turning the attack flip side, using the attack to his own advantage, as he would do, because he is the Master Assassin. And he hits Batman, Green Arrow, no forces, because he typically is the villain kind of thing. He has a special trait. He's got a special rule called Soul Armour, which is his armour, which is, like, as you can see, it looks very mercenary-like and tank-like. And for 3 special counters, once per game, you can remove 2 wound markers from this character. Wound markers generally mean the blood damage. Although you can remove stun damage, it's best to remove blood damage, because blood damage is the one that you can never take off. So just removing blood damage is absolutely great. For 3 special counters, if you're nearing death, you want to spend that, and then you want to just not worry about losing more willpower. I'll go into his weapons funding last, because we'll go into his stats. His willpower is 7, so he's got quite a bit. He's just under a leader class within the context of willpower. He has strength 3+. That's very, very good, especially when you've got the weapons like sharp and handy and reach. His movement is 3, so already he's speeding along. His attack and defense values are 5, so that means you have to hit Deathstroke on a 5-up, and vice versa. Meanwhile, if you want to block against Deathstroke, you need a 5-up. In addition, that means you can put 5 counters. If you really want to, it's a large investment and cost, but if you're fighting a big monster, which I'll go into later, you'll love it. His endurance is 8, on par with many leaders. Wow. And his special is 3, which is general, like, for everyone. And that is a lot. And I'll say, this is where it starts to come back, because already if you know the game, you're probably thinking Deathstroke's like, what? This is his reputation. Well, hang on, we'll go through his funding cost. $250, so it's quite a bit, not too much. It's basically because he's got the Rate of Fire 3 automatic gun, which does a blood and a stun damage, before I forget. His reputation cost is $145. Now, typically games are played at 300 rep or 350 rep. If you're playing either one of those, that's half your gang gone. So, like I say, I will basically say the role of him. And to me, Deathstroke, well, the Arkham Origins Deathstroke is the game killer. And I'm not saying that as in he breaks the game, because he doesn't when I go through him. He goes up to anything and he bats them with the reinforced bow. Then he gets the sword out and then he kills them. He's the type of guy who will see 3 henchmen, get into base contact with everyone, and then split the attacks and just smack them across with his reinforced bow. Why am I saying his reinforced bow? Because you want knockout henchmen ready for your other goons to start shooting them up. Or like stamping on the heads. In addition, you get the combo with reinforced bow. So if you're spending 5 attacks with a reinforced bow, you're getting 7 attacks in reality, because for every 2 counters you spend, you get an extra on 3. So that's 7 attacks. That's a potential of 2 by 7 is 14 stun damage. 14 is way more than enough to even take on the likes of Titan Bane, the big bulky one, Solomon Grundy, Swamp Thing, Clayface, the really, really big monsters. To me, Deathstroke is one of those big monsters on a 25mm lipped base or 35mm lipped base. He is the tank. But that makes his drawback even more severe. Because his big drawback is his reputation cost. If you're taking Deathstroke, he is going to pay off that rep, but he is going to take up more than half your gang. He is so very expensive. It's not even funny. It really is. I mean, I've tried Deathstroke a few times, and I have misplayed him, because when I started off with Deathstroke, I was new to the game, and I did a few misplays. One of the things that most people think to do is, because blood damage is better, they tend to go for the sword at first. No. You don't want to go for the sword first, because the problem with the sword is if you take on the likes of, like I say, Swamp Thing with just the sword, you can do a few damage, but it's not going to do as much, especially when they've got regenerate, and just regenerate it back up. What you want to do is knock them out so they can't do that. You want to go 5 attack, hit them with the bow, knock them down, knock them out, and then get the sword out and just start stabbing and hacking away. So what is Deathstroke's purpose? He is your big monster hunter. He can, to an extent, take out large swathes of henchmen. But don't expect this too much, because when there's a large group of henchmen, there's always a gun. And if there's a gun, beware of the gun. That's again a tactic with Deathstroke. beware the gun, because if that gun hits, fair enough, it's hitting on 5s, but if that gun hits, you're royally gonna regret it. You've got and more than anything, here's the Master Assassin. He goes for assassination kills. He sees the likes of Joker. He sees the likes of Two-Face. He sees the likes of Batman even. And he will go in and smack one. I'm not joking. Origins Deathstroke is the assassin. He is the guy who will go in and kill things. But like I say, it is balanced because his big drawback is that he's taken half a gang. I was in a tournament where someone decided to pick League of Shadows with Origins Deathstroke, and he ended up with 2 ninjas, Deathstroke from Arkham Origins, and Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul, I think it was. It was that or either Nissa. So I was 4 models in a whole 300 rep gang, I think. That's pretty expensive, you know. That's I mean, I know elite gangs can still do well, but you've got to really plan 5 turns ahead. Otherwise, you are going to get swamped, unfortunately. So you have got to plan with Deathstroke ahead a little bit, and he does do what he does. Just beware the gun, really. Beware the gun, and beware of being overconfident with Deathstroke, because I've done this in the past where I thought, alright, just this one guy like Lobo, for example, I charged head first with the sword into Lobo and just thought, I'll take him out. Sadly, this wasn't the case. Lobo then just headbutted Deathstroke to the ground, then Two-Face finished him off with judgment, with flipping the coin, shooting the gun into him, and killing him instantly. So, like I say, you can misplay him, but it will be a learning experience, as I found out for myself with Deathstroke. But, like I say, once you get past these learning steps and stuff, and hopefully with this Tactica, like I say, you always use the reinforced bow. The gun you can use, it's rarely used though. It's one of those where it's, if you're in the last 2 turns of the game and he's not near enough an objective to contest, or he's not near enough an objective and there's another guy you want to smack some with, then the pistol's great for just firing into another henchman who's on an objective, killing him off as he's a bit damaged already, as I assume through the previous turns of that game. But it's not often widely used much. He's used for his just ability to get in there fast, get in there quick, and get in there with plenty of attacks. I can't stress this enough. He is the monster. He is the monster on the 35mm base. Forget Grundy. Forget even Titan Bane. Deathstroke's what you want. If you want the biggest tank in the game, you pick this guy. This guy will only be matched by the likes of Batman. That is me saying something. That is a big, bold gamble for me to say that. But that is the truth. The only way I can see taking out Deathstroke is if you tar pit him, or you set him alight with Firefly, or you just send, like, if you're Batman, get Batman and Robin and Nightwing all on him with Jason Todd in support. Because, like I say, Deathstroke is that much of a tank. If you see him on the battlefield, if you can get within range, fire at him first. If you can't, it's it's going to be game over. Unless you've got a really dirty trick up your sleeve. Like I say, he is the tank. And that concludes the Arkham file of Slade Wilson with the Arkham Origins Deathstroke variation of the model. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more Arkham files, then please subscribe. If you want to talk about how you use Deathstroke, or if there's any input you want to talk about Deathstroke with, then please comment below. I love talking to you all. I love talking to every single one about Batman, because Batman is, I will admit it, Batman is my favourite game, and I absolutely adore it. If you want to like this video, then go ahead and like it. If you want to share this video so that more people can see Tactica on how to use Arkham Origins Deathstroke, then please comment below. And please share this video. This is the Warp Forge, signing out, and remember, keep on forging.